Here we go again with We Was Moors now.
It's kind of like what your boy Stevie said. 1492, you came up on these shores. 700 years, educated about the Moors.
Ooh. 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 Durr.
What up, y'all? It's your boy Home Team here. I'm back at it with another video of African history, culture, and worldview. Today, I want to talk about one of the greatest days in African history. Now, we all have a tendency to view the Moors as some sort of continuous dynastic rule that spanned the Middle East, North Africa, and Europe. But the Moors...
Yeah, and you're not going to get people to believe that they're Negroes because you can see the span, and they were all through here, and they were all Islamics, and they came into North Africa and took over the Caucasians that were already right there, and eventually they delved up, still been in Spain right there, had some problems with Portugal for a minute, and been there for over 500 years and then got kicked the ass back out, but they didn't have anything to do with black people. But he tries to get everything that ever happened in Africa to have happened to sub-Saharan West African primitives. It's disgusting. They try to be Libyans, which we know are Caucasians. They try to be the Egyptians, which we know are Caucasians. They talk about being Hebrews and all kinds of things. In fact, they'll try to talk about anything but West African primitives. So let's get into this real quick, and here's some rope.
Empire had different factions and periods that are layered in complexity. In fact, I personally wouldn't call it the Moorish Empire because they were separated and ruled by different caliphates.
I personally would call it the Moorish Empire, and it was built of separate caliphates. Much like Sumeria had different city-states and things going on, they had the same type situation, and you don't get to choose what the world calls Moors, but you can do whatever you want to as long as you don't claim that they were Negroes.
With differing religious affiliations within Islam itself. They sometimes didn't even get along with each other. That's why you had different caliphates and Moor states that actually attacked each other.
Now that makes sense to black people because they don't get along and stuff, so they're really starting to get suckered into this idea by now. They can't get along with the guy down the street or the block over, much less a tribe next door and things. So to have become some unified thing like that, well, this doesn't have anything to do with Negroes. You can see it right there. It's Arabs. But where do they come in at? Well, we'll get to that here in a minute. But he likes to keep the little smile on his face and just lie to you and go, Negroes, Negroes, it was you. And it's not. And it's sad that they do this.
Now, when talking about the ethnic persuasion of the Moors, people get into heated debates. Some say the Moors were black, some say they were Arabs, but the overwhelming truth is, it really depends on which caliphate you're talking about.
Now, no, you're not going to try to play that game right here off the bat. For these people came in and invaded, and they were all Arabs. There weren't some black people involved with it. Later they get some of them and try to use them for part of their army and stuff as slaves. And I can show that to you, but you're not going to pretend, well, popcorn, here we are. That's a lie.
Caliphate in the East was a mixture of Arabs and black African Muslims.
No, in the East it was all Arabs, of course. And then you had some blends, and you can see the after effects that happen today. But there was no blacks in North Africa through the time before this, for you can look at all the different Greeks and the things they talked about at Libya, the Tamahu, the Berbers, and the Mazai that are there and stuff, and I've shown them in enough videos to make choke a horse. The girls there look so European. They've got blonde hair and green and blue eyes, red hair and stuff. They're quite pale, and it's not even just, oh, they're a little pale. No, they're Caucasians. And they try to play it off like they're left over from the slave trade, but these Negroes, they were just here. And it's like, no, you're left over from what this Islamic slave trade did. And they say it themselves. But you, in America, blacks try to get anybody to believe, help me, I can't cognate, I must lie. And so you end up with them claiming places like Egypt, and they were part of the Bible, or They were anything yet. I've heard Viking, Shakespeare. They were King James of the Bible. They were really anything but West African primitives, and it's gotten way out of hand. They don't even think that it's racist or anything at all for them to go around doing this.
Even half Arab and half black Muslims.
No.
There were also many Berbers that were involved as well. The
Berbers are Caucasians, and there's some Negroids that live in that area now, and they've adopted into it, but that's not what it is at all.
Being mixed themselves. But the caliphates in the West, the ones responsible for the conquest of Spain for over 500 plus years, was overwhelmingly black African.
Consistently lying. Well, let's just go real quick and just see what Wiki says on Moors. I mean, I could go into a depth thing, but it's just as simple to do something as simple as type in Wiki Moors. And so I'll go in there and it's the Moors, okay? And the Moors are primarily to the Muslim inhabitants in the Iberian Peninsula, Sicily, Malta during the Middle Ages. Malta is the island off the toe of the boot of Italy, or Sicily is the island off the boot of, here, look. Well, I'll be damned. See, it's off the end of the boot. So, don't look over here at that and get busted on the idea of what's going to happen. So I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to read this all to you. It'd be just wasting everybody's time because I've got 4 videos on this already. What we're going to do is we're going to tell you that nobody speaks of anything but Caucasians. And at this time, they even had blonde and red-haired people in it. But due to admix after their mistakes during the slave trade, now they're quite browned out and different. And some of those thoughts are mentioned by people too, and that how they had muddied themselves and ruined their heritage, for they had gotten with what then, then was considered a subhuman. And so they had gotten with not just a slave, because people had slaves before and they capture and fight each other, but it was all basically Caucasians on Caucasians and variations on a theme, and people that had a similar level of civilization and things. So this wasn't looked at as being so good. Well, somewhere right in here it tells you, Basques, Moru, no, none of it means anything to do with Negroids. It literally, you can read through all of this and it doesn't say anything till like here it is. And through the number of Moorish colonists was a small number of neighboring Iberian inhabitants to Islam, Caucasians. By 1,000, according to Ronald Siegel, some 5 million of Iberia's 7 million inhabitants, most of them descended from indigenous Iberian converts. So they were still, it's not like they left as much of a trace as people try to say. And then they backed back out before. But there were also sub-Saharan Africans who had been absorbed into Andalus as to be used as soldiers and slaves. What? No. He was all grinning and saying, overwhelmingly Negro, think it's you. Think it was you. And they had problems with it right off the bat, and they said they started castrating him as eunuchs and stuff. First, they weren't going to try to keep their strength up for battles and things like that, because that's what they really tried to use them for, in intimidation and warfare. So I'm gonna look at this picture here, and there's your Moors. And what we have is a brown-haired man, and a grayish, and a dark-haired man, and a blondish red, and 2 blondes, and there aren't no Negroids in that whatsoever, and it's disgusting that you keep trying this. And I'll be damned, there's a blonde-headed and a red-headed Moor right there. And I get in on that real close. Do you think that these guys are admixed yet? Because the Arabs used to look like this. Muhammad looked like this. Muhammad was a redhead. They have some of his hairs left. In fact, when he got old, he used to dye it red to the color of its youth, and people still to this day do it, even black converts to the religion. But that doesn't mean they was the Moors. And it would be pathetic if they tried to say that they were. So here's Moors and have Moorish heritage in a festival. Does any of them look admixed at all? All the way down the run. Any of them. This is the festival in Olivia. And they built these huge places and temples in there that have this Persian Arabic architecture all over them. And that has nothing to do with Negroids either, but they did look at it. And if we look at this plate, I've showed this in a couple of videos before, and what we see is a blonde-haired man up here and a brown, but I'm going to go all the way around and get back there. Man, look at that guy's red beard. And split in the center like a Nazarite. Yeah, and split in the center, and there it is, brown, and another redhead. Brown, red, brown. Man, we're not getting much black-haired people. Well, there's a lady, her hair's covered up. Yep, they're Caucasians. They're not even showing the symbolic red ochre males and pale females like the Greeks and everything. That's because they're not part of that culture, really, were they? And there's a blonde. He's upside down, but man, you can see his blonde beard. And there's a blondish brown kind of. And then here's gray. He's gotten gray. And then here's that brown beard again. And so here we can see your Moors. Yeah, and this is the Alhambra Moors that he tried to talk about are overwhelmingly Negroid. Isn't that amazing? That's amazing. Well, what's amazing about those Amazi is that they're a Berber and they're not Negroids, and they're endemic North African Caucasians. And so now we can see the Moors coming up on, and man, that looks like it has nothing to do with Negroids. First of all, they have horses. Second of all, they've got all this armor, and they're primitives, and they're all Caucasians. Oh wait, that is the Moors. Negroids aren't the Moors. That's okay. All right, I'm getting it. I'm understanding now. Are you understanding? Are you understanding that? Oh my God, he's black. Oh my God, he's black. Oh my God, he's black. Wait. Oh no, he's not. He's just wearing chainmail. Oh, well, they had blacks in their thing. They did have primitives went in with them. I know it. Yeah. See if you can tell where the black one is in this. Can you see him yet? Is he this Caucasian, or this one, 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 or oh my God. Wow, just like in Egypt, you can tell that prognostic head and the phenotype, and it, of course, and the color. And so you can see that they must have had a black one with them. Oh, we was Moors? No, there's one with them. Oh, we was one. Follower, slave, helper. Really? Really? Oh, is there two? Well, that actually looks blue-green screwed up. I don't know. I can't credit that to it, especially since it's got facial hair, and blacks don't usually have facial hair. Okay, more blacks. Look at these Negroids that he keeps talking about. 2 brown-hairs, 1 blonde. Well, 3 brown-hairs, 3 black, 1 blonde. King, blonde. Those are males. They're courtiers. Huh. James of Aragon. That's Moors meeting James of Aragon. I wonder why blacks keep trying to say this. Do the black people, hey man, if there's a black person that watches this that's woke, just put in the comments and everything, yes, and then we looked into it and we laughed them off, and now we know that they're trying to ruin their own society by lying within and making themselves racist by their own hands. So how many black people are we seeing here? These Moors, man. Okay, so I bet I count more blonde-haired people than Negroes. I bet I count more redheads too. Let's go with red and blonde. Red, brown, blonde, brown, blonde, red, blonde, blonde, red. Huh. Man, Arabics don't look like this anymore, do they? But then that's them, and that's them painting their own art. What happened? Oh man, I guess that thing about recessive genes must be kind of true, and it doesn't take but a few drops, and one bad apple don't spoil a whole bunch of girls. Oh, Donny Osmond, and yeah, and oh man, the Queen, yeah, she's and it's got a Jesus thing, and got the that. So and the crosses and the Jesusms. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, this is it in Crusades. Oh, there's another blonde going down on the horse, stabbed. Huh. So this is the BAM conflict. Yeah. So who was fighting? Oh, we was fighting. We was toughest. Really? They don't remember it. Look at this incredible architecture that Caucasians make. They're staring at each other and they go, "Are you a Negro?" And the other one goes, "Are you a Negro?" No, it has nothing to do with Negroes. Wow. The interior of a mosque. Very Caucasian. Caucasians in it. That's strange. You think Negroids would be all over it. Wow, look at this coat of arms and Moors, and blacks always talk about, look, they got Negroes on the coat of arms, and there's a couple of them. But there's symbology in the Greeks even that shows black, white, and red people in different situations, and in warrior, they're quite often black, and we went through that recently. And you're going to claim anybody that's got a tan darker than a sheet of paper, and that's not black people even there, right there. That looks like a pirate. Arg. That's Errol Flynn. That's not Negro. Huh. Oh, they were Negroes. They were Negroes. That's oxidized so bad it's not even funny. But okay, man. It looks like that you were the main Negroes there, weren't you? The flag of the Emirates. Now, here's some guys, and this might be questioned. It looks like he might be a Negro because he's drawn swarthy a little bit. But if he has big, long, curly blonde hair, that wouldn't be. And then this guy looks very Arabic, and it looks like we may have had some admix by now. Moorish man and a woman. Ah, that's a woman with that hair. And there ain't no naps on it. Huh, Barbary Coast. Hell, she may not even be from there. Barbary Coast pirates, the way that worked out, and their slavery that they did all over people. Man, look at this philosophical Negro. He's just contemplating the immense, incredible things blacks did with the Moors. It's too bad all the black guys that are watching this never even knew this existed either. They were West African primitives and didn't get yanked out of the center of the continent. And boy, them Fulani grabbed a whole lot. Oh yeah. But one thing's for sure, not Egyptian, not part of the Bible, not the Moors. Here's the guy, Scipio Africanus. Yeah, he's got that name. That African, that name, it comes from Caucasians. They named it. It was called Libya in old, if you look at Herodotus' old maps. Also, if you look at Herodotus' old maps, they don't show Sub-Saharan even exists. And everybody on that map's a Caucasian at that time, except for the far reaches and the edges of India and the far Orient. Isn't that special? Yeah. And so why do we have this cohesion or problem where blacks are claiming anything but where they actually come from? Is it a mental problem? Something that needs to be addressed? openly in the public on every TV station and show for years, so they'll quit trying to say something like this. Burn it back into them and make sure that they don't say something like, oh, you just did that to try to get us to not know who we really is, like they keep saying, because you debunk them and you go, no, they're white, look, and then they go, oh, you just made that up, and who's making something up, Negro? Please stop. That's disgusting.
Of Africans from the north and the west. Now, Europeans made it very clear what they meant by Moor. Yes, they were aware of non-black African Moors.
And that's because that's all they talk about. And so he's kind of hinting up like, if you do look, you're going to see that they're not Negroes. So they're well aware of it. But then I'm going to say,
but when they got in a battle with Moors, apparently all they saw was a sea of black faces. When the Spanish king Alfonso V spoke of the Moorish conquest of Spain, he said, and I
quote, we just saw a picture of that guy right there on the right side, and the Moors he was dealing with on the left. It's the one where I counted the red and blonde beards. And so what he's going to say here is that because he describes him as darkened or swarthy and tanned, because back then people kept themselves so pale, and if you don't think so, they were starting to powder themselves. Look how tan that man is right now, as Alfonso. Shortly after this, these people are wearing fake white wigs and powdering themselves and everything. They're keeping themselves as pale as possible. If you would have went to England and you would have said something about these people after this happened, not before, but after the admix and things that had happened into them, they would say Arabic. And what was bad about it was that they had muddied themselves with the primitive people. And that's not cool. But okay, weird flakes, but okay, but you're going to end up getting out of Spain. And they called the Crusaders and ended up doing so. And so what's he going to say whenever he saw these guys that he's expecting the nobles to be real pale? In fact, that video showed him, the picture showed him to be real pale. But he describes the warriors as being not. Well, hell, they've been in North Africa running around in the sun all day for years now, and they're quite swarthy. Imagine some half-naked golfers, and what they would end up looking like are beach boys, and then you throw some armor on them. But quite a few armies are known to have gotten that way, but he describes them, and he loves this description.
Quote, all the Moorish soldiers were dressed in silk and black wool that had been forcibly acquired. Their black faces were like pitch, and the most handsome of them was as black as a cooking pan. Now we can click.
Oh man, the most handsome Caucasian of them was swarthy dark. But I'm gonna claim isms. And I'm going to claim that white people think the most handsomest is a Negro.
Clearly see that black Africans made a lasting impression on these Europeans.
You're making a lasting impression on these Caucasian spacemen with your bullshit. You're making a real lasting impression. It's going to last a whole lot longer than even you're on this planet, that this will be a joke how blacks used to go around and try to claim everything. Remember that was Egyptians thing and was Moors? Yeah, especially the funniest part was that the people who were saying that were the most primitive people on the planet, didn't know any of it existed. Oh, it's just terrible, terrible. And they caused all that crime ranting around about how they were and causing their own racism. It was hilariously sad.
Because they immediately associate the Moors with black. Let's just use some common sense here.
Let's lose some common sense here. I've showed you some pictures, but you can see a desperate, jealous Negro that really wants to say that they were all black. And now we saw that, man, I saw one in that picture, and then those are Caucasians. And even talking to the Alfonso and everything are Caucasians. So what are you trying to pull on your own people? So let's have some common sense here. Let's see if he can use some logic.
The closest people to Spain in general are Africans.
France. They border frickin' France. You don't have to go across water. And and black people never had a seaworthy boat. And gimp. And Oh, who's closer? Oh, let's just have a common sense here. Blacks were across the sub-Saharan African area down here and didn't know any of this existed. And these are all Caucasians. And these people are up here. And there's France. Places that are closer. Closer. Oh, well, it's only 14 kilometers across here. It's not even a foot to go across here. But I think in deceit
So it would only make sense that the Moors contingent would consist of black Africans.
But it wasn't, because they didn't even exist really, and they went down and got some slaves that they knew about, the Berbers had known about, and that was starting to go on a little bit there too. But oh man, we was the people that enslaved us again. Egyptians with Nubians. It gets bad. We were Islam, we were Moors, and there's so many black Islamics. Hell, look at Obama. Isn't that funny whenever you look at it that way? They still call him Ibid to this day. It actually means slave. And you're looking pretty dumb right now, but you think you're smart. And black people that watch your videos go, oh man, he's so smart. Them white peoples, they just don't know.
At least a majority black. Now, the initial conquest of Spain was
He said majority black again. Do I need to go back through those pictures that are about the Moors? Oh, it was cherry picked. Man, watch a Negro try to cherry pick as much as can. They send me pictures that are modern day makings and later remakes of black looking people on horses, and they get real happy. And they never saw a damn horse. Who? The people that are trying to get happy. They were in West African primitives and they never left there and got on boats there. Captured and sold by their own type of people. And these Fulanis and these other guys that are preying on them. And the Islamic slave trade started 900 years before the Americas even happened in 1492. But watch him try to correlate that.
Combination of Arab and black Muslims. Some scholars believing it was mostly black due to the recruitment of.
Most scholars, like anybody who's looked into it at all, realizing that they were all Caucasians and there might have been some influx, but you're not going to say they were and mostly. That would be disgusting. That would be saying like, since they started out slaves and everything and from them and later, this would be just like America, where if a black person was to go, oh, we founded America. And that would be a jealous lie. They didn't really, picking cotton and things and stuff is not building America, founding it, finding it in the first place, or anything having to do with it. It is the year of return, and you can go back to these places. They've got things set up at the airport, and it's the year of return for blacks to go back and everything. But it's okay. It'll be there the next year and next year. It's been there ever since too, and so they're wanting you to go back so you don't have to be under this Caucasian wing anymore and feel like that racist whitey, as you sit and make up racist lies that you can make up jealous hate about. Jussie Smollett.
Of Africans in the interior. Now, after the initial conquest, it just went all downhill from there for Spain
because it involved some black people, and man, they losing it. We're going to catch that last phrase here real quick. I'm going to go just a hair further and let him go through the whole thing. I cut it too much.
Africans in the interior.
No.
Now, after the...
No, I'm sorry. I'm going to go back right there.
Initial conquest of Spain was a combination of Arab and black Muslims. Some scholars believing it was mostly black due to the recruitment of Africans in the interior.
Now, the reality of that is they were all Arabs and they were all Caucasians, and they even had red blonde hair back then. And they lost all of that due to recruiting some black Africans from the interior who will never be considered Moors no matter what you do, for they were sub-Saharan Negroids from the interior.
After the initial conquest, it just went all downhill from there for Spain.
Harlem.
Because it got blacker and blacker.
Funny how he openly admits, well, after it got going, then it started going downhill. Why? Because it got blacker and blacker and blacker. He said that.
Invasion pretty much started like this. There was a nobleman named Julian who sent his daughter to King Roderick to be educated, and your boy Roderick ended up raping her. Julian, of course, upset by this, wanted to get revenge. So he goes to Africa and he literally tells the Africans that Spain is weak, and if you wanted to conquer it, it would be easy work. So the more
It's kind of a swirl on it, and there are thoughts that that the daughter that was gone there too was supposed to have been a princess exchange and everything, and something went wrong. And one of the stories here is one-sided, of course, and then this story right here is what you would call nine-sided, where you have to fall all the way off the dice onto the floor into the muck, and then you look back up and go wheeze, and then you try to involve yourself.
just like, oh, word? And just like Julian said,
Hold on. These guys, these Moors, they speak Ebonics.
Moors were just like, oh, word?
And that's the way it was. And then they dapped, and then they grabbed their pricks in public, and everything was cool.
Just like Julian said, the Moors went up into Spain and conquered it relatively easy. Pause.
Negroes are going to try to have a morality break.
So because your daughter got raped, you're willing to allow millions of people to die and let a whole nation of people get conquered and dominated for 500 years?
You wouldn't believe what black people go through their mind. They just want a pair of shoes and they'll kill somebody. So to try to impart morals and that morals on this and to look at it from a moral standpoint, I guess it's good so you can start learning some of them. But crap went wrong. And so then he said, well, hell, we'll invade those people and stuff. Apparently he was trying to have a 50-50-ish kind of thing with the guy, like, hey, I'll trade you my daughter and you trade one. We don't see the other half of that really. And then something went wrong.
Yeah, anyway, after the Moors dominated Spain, of course the Spanish tried to fight back. And Alfonso had some success against the Moors in Spain, even pushing the Moors back further south. But then the Moors asked for help from the Almoravids.
They asked for help. Mm-hmm.
If the Moors weren't black enough for you, here's where it gets really black. Now, the Almoravid dynasty originated in West Africa and the Senegal region.
You don't lie after I showed the video and I just showed you the Amrahamra ones that you're talking about. And then I did mention after that they grabbed some slaves from that area. But it don't get much blacker than Senegal nowadays. See, the disconnect is blacks keep saying, hey, see what there's now? I want you to believe that was there thousands of years ago. Come on now, believe it. Well, you don't want to be a primitive anymore, so man, go with this lie.
Really get much blacker than Senegal. Now, the Almoravid Empire was pretty much split up into two major sections. The Southern Confederacy was ruled by Abu Bakr in the south, and the northern part was ruled by his cousin, Yusuf ibn Tashfin.
Now, these are both Arabs, and he wants you to think that at least maybe they have some admix, please, just for, GIMP. And he's not going to show you a picture of the other one, and I'm not going to go through the trouble of pulling it down, but he looks like an Arabic man, but he's going to try to say that he black skin, woolly hair, and the bullshit line that comes across.
He was described as being brown skinned with woolly hair, and he was even the founder of the Moroccan city of Marrakesh. Yusuf went up into Spain with his army of Africans and had a very special cavalry unit that was specifically from Senegal.
We was specials. Yeah, we was horsemen and cavalries. And he just said a correct statement, but it didn't fly correctly through your brain probably if you're a black person listening. He said, and the North African Caucasians went up into Spain with their Negroes, and they had a bunch of cavalry, and they were special, and the Negroes were not special. They were the primitives. They'd ran in and said, you just run in there and start clawing and shit and go ape shit.
Apparently they were a beast. His army even used drums to intimidate the enemy. He went up...
Come, they told me, parumpa-pum-pum, I'm intimidated as hell. New white cracker Jesus, parumpa-pum-pum, man, I'm intimidated by drums. Them Celts beat drums too, rumpa-pum-pum. Drums aren't unique to a Negro, rumpa-pum-pum, rumpa-pum-pum. Boy, that was dumb.
Into Spain and defeated Alfonso VI in the Battle of Zaleka. Now get this.
We just showed him there, and that bone that was in his hand is supposed to be like the bone of a giant or something from the thing that goes back, and I'll have to do another video about that one where I do these temples that had bones of giants in elder days. Some of them are dinosaurs, some of them are probably giant people and stuff, but
Zaleka literally means slippery ground, because the warriors were slipping all over the place because of the amount of bloodshed that was spilled that day. Wow.
Negroes were getting killed big time. They didn't equip them right at all as part of the army, but they just wanted to be an intimidating factor and try to be more of an idea of the amount of people and stuff and everything. And of course they ran them in early and got them killed, but they didn't give a damn.
Yusuf checked the Spanish advance and solidified Moorish rule in the area. Now the Amaral
Checking in advance is saying that they didn't get nowhere and a lot of Negroes got killed, and I'm gonna go, we is cools. Look at my new baseball cap. It's one of them Caucasian baseball caps.
would seem to be very conservative when it came to Islam. So while Yusuf was in Spain, he saw that the Moors there were pretty relaxed and just kind of chilling. So
they were just chilling, smoking on Indo, sipping on gin and juice, with their mind on white women and their no women they've got on their mind and not their wobbly-headed women.
It's like, I'm gonna have to reconquer this place.
Oh.
And he did. And that's pretty much how the Almoravid dynasty started. He was considered the caliph or the ruler of the entire western section of the Moorish Empire. Now when we look at Moorish Spain, we only tend to see pictures of black men.
No, we see pictures of Caucasians like I showed you early in it. You only look and see for those, and there's been so many blacks that posted so many of these pictures that you have to fight through them to find some reality. It's usually hooked up to Black Star Atlanta or RealHistoryWW.com or Black History or some bullshit article and stuff that throws them in there and tries to say that they're prominent instead of somebody who actually got to do something. It's like, we had a black president not too long ago, and then the blacks later was to go, we was starter, we was founder, we was Americans, we were the colonists, we was colonists.
That ruled in that area and who were involved in day-to-day activities and Moorish Spanish life. Now Yusuf definitely relied.
Oh, screw this shit, man. Get to the end where you lie real good. About here.
And Spanish interaction. He really needs to stop going back to Africa. Mansour devastatingly defeats the Spanish and their allies and strips them of many valuables and goods. So after that, the Spanish pretty much chilled out for several years. Now it's said that the only reason Mansour didn't continue his campaign was because he actually lost interest in Spain.
We was Negroes and we was meh about Spain, sees. Yeah, yes'ums.
And on top of that, he became very ill.
On top of that, illin'.
Now, scholars are convinced that the Moors took Europeans out of the Dark Ages.
Now, Negroes are trying to think they took somebody out of the Dark Ages, but in fact, in reality, we all know that Negroes weren't taken up out of the Dark Ages. They were taken out from a pre-Stone Age level, primitive people that didn't know any of this existed into a new world, and now they try to claim we was, and it's really disgusting. Let's continue.
At this time, most of Europe was illiterate, and it was...
At this time, all Negroes were illiterate. They've never had any writing whatsoever, and sure enough, the common person wouldn't be very, if any, literate at all. For books are just getting going, and Guggenheim Press and all those crazy Caucasian inventions like books and writing and all the things that led up to being incredible spaceman. Now I heard they can fly.
Even considered a sin to take a bath. Not only
They want a thing that, like, I taught you how to bathe, and it's real disgusting. What they realized finally was kind of bacteria and germs and bad water. And so they would bathe infrequently and usually have to boil water and do all kinds of things to try to do it. But don't act like Europe was all like this, where there are Roman baths all like crazy and everybody's doing this. It's just there was a group of people, and blacks keep wanting to say, oh, just like Europe. But then there's this group of people that are sub-Saharan West African primitives that are trying to claim everything, and they didn't even know how to bathe or do anything whatsoever. And so to claim something like this is, God, it's the most pitiful thing that goes on in the world today, and he smiles while doing it.
did the Moors bring architecture, science, and knowledge into Spain, but they built large baths all over Spain.
We was bathing people and building buildings, y'all. No, that happened from all the Arabic people that were the Moors. You were not the Moors. Oh, we had some. You were not the Moors. You're as much of the Moors as you are the founding colonists of America. Please stop.
In fact, Mansour is known for his therapeutic hot springs.
We was hot springs. No, those hot springs were already there. He didn't make them pop up. He didn't do Abraham smack a rock. We're not going to try this, are we?
The legacy of the Moors is epic and endless. Even today, you'll find countless images of Africans in Spain representing the Moors' conquest.
Yep, and they'll show those black statues and stuff. And does that mean that the Moors were sub-Saharan West African primitives? No, not in any way. Does that mean the Moors and the conquestors and the things and the people that did that and built those things were Negroes? No, you can see in all the pictures that I showed you, they're not. Why do they keep claiming this? I don't know, but this one's dead. How about just claiming West African primitives and saying, man, I'm so glad about the opportunity I'm given. I'm not going to screw this up and blame Whitey and start talking crap and making up disgusting racist lies and things like, oh, it all got taken away from us and stuff whenever you didn't have anything because you're a primitive and your own people are the ones that kept you and took you away from stuff. Let's continue.
Only reason why Christopher Columbus was able to sail to the New World is because Spain just acquired their freedom from the Moors.
Oh man, so the only reason we found the New World because of Negroes, he wants to kind of put out like that. No, after they got their freedom from them, the first thing they did was reunify themselves and put out for the New World. Isn't that an amazing thing that they could have done even before that, but they weren't going to involve the Moors in that. But you hear blacks try to claim, oh, we was the Moors in America, and they think they're maritime, and they've got something they can make up about a boat, and it's hilarious. This one guy shows all these cop shows, and every time he pulls over a black guy and they try to pull this crap on him and stuff, he says, boat captain having problem with Moor, and and stuff like that, and Coast Guard and things like that on him, and he pulls them up, and every one of them either complies fairly quickly or get yanked the hell out of the car and stuff. Oh, and you shouldn't do that. No, he's playing bullshit games, and he gave him 10 times. It says to give him 3. He gave him like 10 times, and then he told him a few times, I'm fixing to yank your ass out of that car, and if you fight me, I'm going to tase you, and if it gets out of hand, things can go real bad. You have a choice here. And he turned around and said he was a Moor again, and yanked his ass out of the car. It's hilarious.
In 1492, you're probably not going to find that in public school history books.
No, you ain't going to find none of that. All you're going to find is jealous Negro liars saying this type of stuff. And we was 492, and we wasn't isms. 1619 was the first black. It was an accident pretty much that got them here in the first place. Just a few. There was only some 35 that had ever come to America in the first 50 years, and then it started really taking off. And yeah, there was more Irish slaves and Caucasian slaves in America, and they were treated incredibly bad, worse than blacks that they had to pay for so much to get here, and Irish became a cheap commodity, and they would do this thing where it was supposed to be chattel slavery, and they thought they were coming over and going to work at some guy's ranch that paid their way, and they ended up busting their ass, and hardly 40% of them ended up surviving of the children that they took to adulthood. And hold on a minute, that was later, and they were telling you how much better it had gotten. I could show pictures now and everything, but this isn't about Irish slavery or anything else. This is about black people lying about who they were and what they did and wasn't we's, and I taught you how to bathe and all the things they try to pull. And it's disgusting, but that one's gone too. Gone. Ethiopians, gone. Yeah, even on this guy's video shows where he's trying to say white long-haired women or sub-Saharan Africans.